What's going on, guys? So 25 meter zero on our pistol optics or 10 meter zero? That's kind of the question, right? It's a bit of a debate in our community as to where people should zero their pistol red dots, at 25 meters, like most manufacturers claim you should, or is there a better zero for our pistol optics based off of experience and other instructors out there that kind of weigh in their opinion? So I personally like a 25 meter zero on my pistol red dots because, again, I go with the manufacturer's guidance of 25 meters. But today in this video, we're going to cover me zeroing this pistol at 10 meters and then seeing what the holdoffs are at 25 meters. And then I'll also re-zero at 25 meters and we'll see what our holdoffs are at 5 meters. So I know what my holdoff is with a 25 meter zero. I know what my holdoff is at 5 and 10 meters. At 5 meters, it's roughly 1.5 inches, give or take. At 10 meters, it's about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Again, you know, taking consideration user error, the shakiness and stuff like that. So those are the two kind of zeros that we're going to do today just to see what the holdoff is. Because I think if there's a better holdoff for 1-0 or less of a holdoff for 1-0, at these distances, then I think that's probably the one that people should go with. But again, it's really up to you and what you think the application for this pistol is going to be for you. Since for me, this is a range gun, I'm going to zero it at 25 meters. I really don't have any pistol optics that are zeroed less than 25 meters, but specifically on a range gun, I'm going to zero this at 25 meters and keep that zero. But today, again, we're going to experiment 10 meter zero with 25 meter holdoffs versus a 25 meter zero with 5 meter holdoffs and 10 meter holdoffs, which I already kind of know. All right, so there you go, guys. So what I have out here in front of me, about 10 meters, is one of my pistol zero. Oh, geez, came out of nowhere. What I have is one of my pistol zero targets that I printed out from the 2 Alpha Training Group website. You guys can go there to download it for free. The link is up here or here, one of these corners. And again, I designed this pistol zero target for red dots specifically, but also one of my way adjustable red dots. You'll get a chance to look at the target here. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to establish a 10 meter zero. So point of aim, point of impact is what a zero means. I have a 1 inch pasty out there that I'm going to be shooting at. I'm going to take 3 shots at this pasty. And then I'm going to stop at 3 shots and use triangulation. So usually when you have a grouping, you almost have like a triangular shape. I will use triangulation off my 3-shot grouping, and then I will take the middle of that triangulation and make my adjustments from there. Since this pistol is already 0 to 25 meters, I think I'll have a good grouping, but also I don't think I won't have to make any huge adjustments on the red dot itself. So let's just go ahead, load this magazine. And by the way, guys, I am using Ultimate Ammunition's 100 grain centerfire NXG rounds. This is their competition ammo. That is what I'm shooting today because that is what I primarily train with, so I might as well zero with the ammo that I train with. All right, so, and I got my little savior bag as a bench rest. Let me just get nice and comfortable here. And we're just gonna take 3 well-aimed shots at that 10 meter zero on this target. I'll show you guys the grouping afterwards. Here we go. Okay, so one of those were really high, but I'll show you guys the grouping anyway. So that's why I took 4, because the one was a fluke. So let's go look at this target. All right, so there's the target itself. I'm just using this side of it right now. That is my 10 meter target right there. Here's my grouping. That's the one high, so I'll go ahead and mark that off. When I'm doing this, since this is a fluke, we're not going to count that, but we are going to group these. Since it's a nice kind of grouping, now I'm just going to make my adjustments basically from the middle of that. So if I triangulate this somewhere from there, I'm going to make my adjustments from there. So I'm going to go I'm going to go 1 right, and I'm going to go 3 up, So 1 right, 3 up is my first correction on this 10 meter zero. So let me go ahead and make my adjustment. 1 right, 3 up is what we said. Is that what we said, 3 up? No, 5 up. Yeah, 1 right, 5 up. So let me go ahead and make the adjustments on the elevation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I like to come back 1 to 5. The reason I go 1 past whatever increment I'm changing is because the springs and all the mechanisms in here need to settle. And when I go back, when I go 1 further than I want to, in this case 6, and I come back, that gives the springs a chance to settle. Now, this isn't exact science, guys. This is just based off my experience with red dot optics and all the springs and stuff in here as far as zeroing goes. And it's worked out for me so well, so far. So then I'm going to go 1 right, but I'm actually going to go 2 right. And then I'm going to come back 1. Two right, sorry. So I'm going 3 right and then coming back 1. All right, so that is 5 up and 2 right. Let's take 3 more shots. Okay, we'll go look at that grouping. All right, so when we're looking at this grouping, I'm going to basically do the same thing. Here's the new one right here, right? So there's my little triangle on my group, and now I'm just going to connect them. And I'm going to triangulate off the middle of that. Right, so if this is a 10 meter zero, I want point of aim, point of impact to be the same. So that is where I'm aiming, but that is also where I want to hit, right? So if I'm triangulating off the next 3, and I go from here, I basically just need to come up probably 5 more, and then we'll go from there. So 5 up on this one, just an elevation change. All right, so we said 5 up. That's where we're going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back 1. Let that settle. All right, so let's take 3 more shots. And if this dot, or if my target gets too dirty with all the impacts, I'll just move over. In fact, I'll just move over now. 3 well-aimed shots. Now, when I'm taking these shots, guys, I want to always ensure that my red dot is in the center of that view plane, whatever that view plane looks like for your optic. Make sure it's in the center, because a lot of manufacturers will tell you that there's no parallax to their optics, but that's just not the case, right? There's always parallax in glass, especially in curved glass. There's going to be parallax. So what I don't want is to have my dot somewhere high or low to one of the corners in my view plane. I want to center it so that I can mitigate parallax, but I can also get the true at 0. So let's go take a look at this grouping. All right, so there we go. Not much of a triangulation here. We have basically shots on top of each other. So that tells me that I could probably come over 1 more to the right to fine tune. But as far as elevation goes, I'm probably staying right here. So we'll go 1 to the right. And actually, I'm probably going to go 1 up too, because again, I'm fine tuning. So 1 right, 1 up on this adjustment. Come back 1. Okay, let's take 3 more shots. Hopefully this puts all of them in the black, and then we can say we're zeroed at 10 meters. Okay, so shooting on a 1-inch pasty from 10 meters, even bench rested, is actually pretty tough. But let's go look at this grouping. All right, what do we got here? So that was my first 3 right down the middle here. And then so this is my new ones right here. So we're going to, if I'm kind of chasing this and I'm second guessing myself, I'm just going to shoot it again. I'm going to shoot it again and get better data. That way I know, do I actually need to come up more, or am I good and it was just user error? All right, so let's go take 3 more shots without any change. I'm actually going to shoot at the 1-inch pasty that's on the 6-inch circle part because it's clean. And then we'll go see the groupings. Nice and stable, control the trigger. One more. That first one felt low, but I also know that I did something to cause it go low, so we're not going to count that first one, but let's go look at the groups. All right, so here we go right here. This is my first one that I said was low, so I didn't want to count that one. But I got 1 off to the left, 1 center, and 1 right. Again, this is from 10 meters on a 1-inch pasty. I say that's a pretty good grouping with the red dot. I could call that zeroed. I could shoot it again, but for the sake of the video, let's just say we're zeroed. Now I'm going to push this guy out to 25 meters, put a new target on, and see what kind of hold off we have at 25 meters. If I'm aiming at the block, where am I actually hitting with a 10-meter zero? All right, guys, so you can see from where I'm sitting behind the bag, that target is at 25 meters right there, and it is a fresh target. Now we're going to look at our hold offs. I'm going to aim at the block in the middle, and we'll see where we hit. All right, target's at 25. We're going to take 3 shots, just like we did earlier. And then I'll go show you guys the grouping. But I want to see what my hold off is, because now I have a 10-meter zero established, and I'm taking a 25-meter shot. What does that hold off look like if I'm holding dead center on that 6-inch circle? Here we go. Also, the other thing I like to tell you guys is that when you're zeroing, make your dot as dim as you can make it with the lighting conditions. You don't want to have a bright dot when you're zeroing, because the kind of that spider effect will throw you off a little bit. So mine is very dim right now. I can barely see it, but it's good because it covers that pasty and it doesn't like starburst out or anything. All right, here we go. All right, let's go look at that grouping. Not even sure where I hit, to be honest. All right, walking up to this 25-meter target. I'll do this one time for you guys, just so we can see our grouping. Not the best grouping, to be honest. Let me back it up a little bit. So I got this guy, and this guy, but let's just go ahead and connect them. And then we're going to shoot that again, because just one time isn't enough. You're going to have to shoot this probably 3-4 times in order to really understand what your hold off is based off of your overall shot group pattern, not just your first 3. All right, so we're going to try our second group at 25 meters with a 10-meter zero, so we can establish a better grouping and better data for our hold offs. Here we go. I might have rushed that third one, but that's okay. We're going to do this probably at least one other time. All right, so one guy low, the other 2 high. Right, so now we're getting a different kind of grouping. But let's connect those 3, and let's go shoot it one more time. All right, we'll shoot it one more time for the sake of the video, and see if we can kind of confirm that I am shooting high and to the right a little bit. Okay, let's go look at that. This may just confirm what our hold off is. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3. So it's nice to see that we're starting to develop a pattern here. The majority of our shots are here, the 4. I got 2 here and I got 3 low. But I want to go with this data right here. Right? This is where I'm consistently hitting. So I'm going to take these and these into consideration and say this is human error or user error, and this is the true data. But let's shoot it just one more time and confirm that theory. All right, one more time. I said that was the last time, but this is actually the last time. Just give myself nice and stable the way I was. 3 shots. Here we go. Okay, those actually really felt really good. But let's go take a look at that grouping. All right, so here are my 3. 1, 2, 3. That's my last grouping there. So if we were to say this is it, this is our hold off with a 10 meter zero, 25 meter hold off is roughly, we would say, 2 to 4 inches above your point of aim. So your point of aim is here, your point of impact is here somewhere, right? We're not going to chase this all day, so we're just going to take the data that we have. 2 to 4 inches high is my hold off with a 10 meter zero at 25 meters. That is what we've have conclusive data for. But let's now go to a 25 meter zero, and then we'll do hold offs at 5. All right, so since now we're going to actually zero at 25 meters, let me explain this target to you guys, the way I designed this. So obviously here is your big 6-inch circle that you can do, you'll be shooting from 25 meters. But what I have here on the sides are 2 circles that you can use at 5 meters just to see where you're at on paper. Because when you're shooting your iron sights, that's one thing, that's one aiming system. But when you're shooting your optic, that's a standalone aiming system. And we just want to make sure that both the iron sights and the optic are relatively in the same area with the holdover for the optic. So then I'm going to use these 2 to make my big adjustments on paper, and then, or with the optic, my elevation and windage. And then when I think that I'm impacting my point of aim and where my point of impact is, then I'll push this out to 25 meters and I'll start taking shots at this guy. And then I'll start using these increments of measure here to start making my fine-tuning adjustments on my optic. So every click is when I'm away. Every click at 25 meters is a 1/4 inch change. Every box is a 1/4 inch change. So at 25 meters, each of 1 click equals 1 box, right? 1 click at 25 meters is a 1 inch 1/4 change. Each box is a 1/4 inch change. So if I need to go 5 up, it's basically just 5 clicks. The number of boxes are equivalent to the number of clicks at 25 meters for a 1 MOA adjustable optic. All right, so let's do the near first and see if we have any big changes to make. All right, so that target is at 5 meters now. We are now basically re-zeroing at 25 meters, but I'm doing the near first to make sure that I have, if there's any big changes I need to make, I'll make it on paper now before I push out to 25. So I'm going to point at the little tiny dot that you guys saw. That was the point of aim. And then I should be hitting in that square, which is my point of impact. And we'll make adjustments from there. Okay, 3 shots there. Let's take a look at the grouping really quick. All right, so if you ask me, to me it looks like, well, you're good, right? You got your 3 rounds to go in the point of aim, or in the impact area as you were aiming up here. You should be good to go. But I like to check twice, maybe sometimes 3 times. So we're going to shoot that again before we make any adjustments. Okay, let's try this again. All right, so all 3 rounds went in there again. A little closer this time, tighter group. But if I were zeroing at 25 meters with this optic, I would be happy with that. It's slightly high. If I'm looking at the overall grouping, it's slightly high. I could come down 1 or 2. In fact, I'll probably come down 2 and see where that puts us, and then I'll shoot on this side. 2 down. We'll actually go 3 down and then 1 back up. 1 back up. Okay, let's shoot on that right side. One more. Okay. The reason I shot 4 on that one is because I know I pulled one, so I don't want to count that. All right, so that was the one I pulled, so we're not going to count that one. This was my other 3. Okay, I want to shoot that one more time without any changes because I think my elevation is good. It's just my user error on these two, right? And slightly on this guy. This one's where I want it, but let's do that one more time without no changes. Okay, let's look at that. I'm actually happier with this grouping. Okay, so I know I'm being kind of nitpicky, right? I want my grouping to go up slightly. The reason I'm being so nitpicky is because if I'm making these kind of errors from 5 meters, what is this going to translate to from 25 meters? So as you notice, my grouping is slightly higher, but it's still left. So I need to come over to the right one more box, and then we're going to push this out. So I'm going to make that adjustment, but I'm still going to push this out, and then we'll see what it looks like at 25 meters. At 25 meters, we'll make our micro adjustments to get it as close to this as possible. All right, so the target's at 25 meters. I'm shooting the 6-inch bowl now on that 0 target, and then I'll start making kind of, based off my grouping, I'll make small kind of micro adjustments. But if I'm getting a good grouping somewhere in the middle of that 6-inch circle from 25 meters consistently, that to me is a zeroed pistol or a zeroed optic at 25 meters. I'm not looking for like, you know, 1/4-inch groupings. I'm looking for anything that is probably the size of an orange, maybe smaller like a kiwi or something, but that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, so let's take 3 shots. I'm actually going to make this one dim again. I pulled that third one, so I'll take one more. Okay, not really happy with that 4 shot either, to be honest, but let's go look at the group. Okay, so this is an ugly grouping right here, super ugly. But this is the one that I don't want to count, so I'll just go ahead and X that guy out, and then these 3 right here. Again, I'm going to use triangulation, which is pretty much right here. So from there, if I'm counting boxes, I go 1, 2, 3, 3 right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down. 10 down, 3 right. That's the adjustment we're going to make. 10 down, 3 right. I need to get a little more stable. This bag is great, but there are 2 rifles in this bag. Maybe if I use this kind of lower side. Just want to keep it as stable as possible. Okay, here we go. 3 shots with those adjustments. Take one more because I yanked one. All right, let's go take a look at that. So I think the hardest thing I'm having trouble with right now is just getting stable on that bag. I may have to switch that bag out for my backpack that can conform a little bit more to me, to the pistol. All right, but this is our grouping. So this is the one that I threw away because I knew I pulled one. So this is our actual grouping right here. Okay, so we said 3 right and 10 down. Well, 3 right kind of took us a little too far, didn't it? I'm not going to count that guy so much, but more so these 2. But as far as elevation goes, we are nice and on par or on line with that impact area. I may go back. Let's see here. I may go back 1 to the left and then keep the elevation the same. Let's do that. 1 left, elevation the same. Maybe this will be better. Oh yeah, much better. Okay. 3 shots with that 1 left. All right, I'm kind of pulling them a little bit. 1 more. Okay, I know I took 5 there, but you know, sometimes when you're zeroing, guys, you feel like a couple of them are just off and you want to take a couple more. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so here's my group. Here's the one that, here's the two actually that I didn't like. It just felt off. And then we have these three down here. So now I'm starting to chase a little bit. And what I mean by chasing is I went from here to here to here with no elevation adjustment. I went here. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But instead of saying, well, let me just go back up now, I'm actually going to stay right where I'm at and take those again. Okay, no change. No change, because the last thing I want to do is make changes and then put myself in the worst position to now make other adjustments and prolong the zero process. So I'm not going to make any changes on this one. I'm going to keep it what it was. I'm going to shoot it one more time. I'm going to shoot it a little bit slower this time, so I'm not throwing rounds. And we'll see what kind of grouping I establish. And then maybe from there, if it's consistent, I'll have to make changes. The worst thing that could honestly happen right now is for me to put 3 right around the block. Because then I'm just like, okay, well, it's definitely me then, right? Because I had one to the right with no elevation change, a grouping low with no elevation change. And now I'm hoping that this next grouping is also going to be low so I can actually make an elevation change. If it isn't, it'll kind of be frustrating because I won't know what kind of elevation change I need to make. Maybe I just need to be more stable. I did say it shoots slow, didn't I? So much for that. But it felt good. Let's go look at them. Okay, so I'm actually getting some good data here now. It's this guy here, that one there, that one there. So, but I am consistently hitting right, aren't I? So maybe I need to go back left, and then elevation-wise, I should come up 3. So we're gonna go 3 left, 3 up, and see what that does for us. I may have to put a new target up. 3 up, 3 left. On a new target, by the way. I put a new target up. Okay, nice, steady shots. Ah, ammo! Give me some ammo! Okay, last one. Kind of messed my groove up. Okay, let's go look at that grouping. I actually feel good about this grouping. I feel good about this adjustment. All right, that's a good grouping right there. I got 2 touching each other and I got 1 low. But what did I say earlier? I said if I can get a grouping somewhere here, the size of an orange or a kiwi, then I would be happy with that, right? I'm really happy with this, but am I zeroed? I don't know. We should confirm now. So we're going to take 1 more shot, or 3 more shots to confirm what we just did. And hopefully it does confirm. All right, let's put 3 more right in that little area so we can say that we are zeroed. And we can move on. Some good learning lessons though. Understanding hold off for different zeros with the pistol optic from different distances. All right, 3 more. Nice and steady. Okay, let's go look at them. If we're in the ballpark, then I would say I'm zeroed. Okay, good group, really good group, but a little high, right? A little high, kind of concerning. Now, we have to kind of consider, are we happy with this 0? Do I want to end up shooting, having a little bit of a higher 0 at 25 meters? Because if we think about it, most of the time when we're shooting, moving and shooting especially, we tend to hit a little bit lower than we want to, and that's typical because of what we do with the gun and with our eyes and all that stuff. To have a little bit of a higher 0 means that I have less hold off at 5 meters and 10 meters. And even at 25 meters, if I'm shooting and moving and I'm hitting here versus here, well, that's just another, I don't know, 1 to 1.5 inch pasty of a difference, and I'm happy with this. So I will happily settle for this instead of coming here and chasing it all day, so that even at closer distances, I don't have to hold off as much. So there you go, guys. That I am zeroed with my SRO at 25 meters. Let's go back to the table. All right, so there we go. We have zeroed at 10 meters and we shot at 25 to see what those hold-offs look like. They're about 2 to 4 inches over, right, the point of aim. So that was my hold-off. So if I have a 10 meter zero and I want to hit a 25 meter target and I'm shooting 2 to 4 inches over, I establish that hold-off. So then my hold-off at 25 meters for a 10 meter zero would be 2 to 4 inches below the target. All right, now keep that in mind, versus a 25 meter zero where I'm roughly point of aim, point of impact, slightly higher for me because I'm okay with that, and I explained to you guys why. But a 25 meter kind of point of aim, point of impact theory or zero versus coming to 5 meters and having to hold off about 1.5 inches high, or at 10 meters about 1 inch high. I rather hold off 1.5 inches high from 5 meters, or at 10 meters hold off that 3/4 to 1 inch high, than having to have a 10 meter zero and now hold 2 to 4 inches low at 25 meters. So there is the data. I'm not saying which one you guys should go with, but I made this video so that we can discuss hold-offs at different distances with different zeros and let you guys kind of try this out, or based on what you saw in this video, basically come to your own conclusion and decide a zero for yourself, 10 meters or 25 meters. Now, if you go to 15 meters, there's hardly any deviation from 10 to 15 meters, right? And the only deviation from 10 to 25 is an extra 15 meters. So there you go, guys. Hopefully this video helped out and kind of maybe explain some things to you about the pistol red dot and the 10 meter zero with the hold-offs and the 25 meter zero with the hold-offs. And now you guys kind of decide which one is better for you, or try this out. Go experiment just like I did. Come up with your own data, right? Again, this is a range gun. I don't carry this gun. I never really would unless it was like winter time and I was wearing a hoodie. But for a range gun, I'd rather have a 25 meter zero than a 10 meter zero. For your carry gun, you may want a 10 meter zero. Who knows, right? All right, so there you go. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below. Follow, subscribe, and all that stuff to the channel. Like, right? Is that what they say on YouTube? And then I'll see you guys next time. All right, so cheers. Thank you again.